Hey guys, gals, and MBs. I'm here today with the Akai Mpc Key37. So I ended up getting rid of the Mpc One Plus that you saw in a previous video that I did a cover version of Eco Heal. This is a much better device for what I need. Build quality is actually quite a bit better. The headphone jack on the front is removed to the rear and it's a 1/4 inch, so that's a big deal for me because when I'm trying to sketch out a song, the headphone jack being in the front makes it something I can't use in my lap. It was a dumb idea to begin with, and it already had a short in the front input jack from the factory. That seems to be a common problem. This one does not have that, and again, 1/4 inch on the back, so that's awesome. Key bed feels absolutely wonderful. I was using the Mpc One Plus with a key board anyway because that's what I was going to use it for, so this made way more sense. And this has way more internal, well, it has double the internal storage, 32 gigs, which is like nothing by today's standards, but it has an SD card slot full size, so easy to upgrade and cheap to upgrade. They should have added 128 gigs to it, but whatever. They want to segment out their market to make more sales of their higher end instruments. I get that, but that's, it's kind of scummy. Whatever. All right, let's open up a new project and then we can listen to some of the things that I'm going to use this for. I specifically got this to do video game soundtracks because I don't like using a DAW because I have pretty bad ADHD. So using a DAW is pretty detrimental to me because I'm just going to do things other than make music when I'm on a computer. So it's just a thing. Either way, I got the Stage Piano as the free plugin, and I bought the Jura plugin. That's a Juno 6 simulation. All the free plugins that come with it, like Hype, Tube Synth, and all those are absolutely wonderful. I'll make a video about those later, but yeah. So one of the features you can do is load something called key groups, which are like multi-samples, and there's a tool called Convert with Moss, and it converts many different formats into something that a Akai key group can be used with. So I took some sound fonts from SNES games and loaded these in here as, actual sounds. So what I want to do is I can load those. So I can go here. I loaded a key group. We go into load. And like I said, I'm using this to make video game soundtracks. So something cool like that. I'll use the FF6 instruments here from the game Final Fantasy VI, obviously. And I love the guitar from this. It sounds really cool and old school. So we're going to go into guitar, load. The Convert with Moss tool lets you make a sample wave file as well. But here's the key group. So we load the key group loaded. And I believe the Convert with Moss utility already automatically sets like envelopes and things like that. But it did for me. So if I go into edit here, to edit the sample, it already put a loop point, it loops it properly. Go into envelopes, it has a very guitar-like. Yeah, so sounds absolutely cool, and it has that old school sampler sound. And if it's out of tune with your other samples, you can tune it here. To be in tune with the piano that I'm going to use later, I turn this up to about 65. We can change that later, but by default, it seems that the tool already converts a little bit on the pitching to be right. And your pitches could be different across the board, even from different video games from the SNES, even in the same game. Games like Trials of Mana had some really weird pitching across all the instruments. That pitch information is probably coded in, well, it's definitely coded into the game, but they probably change it after the fact, so you'll have to do the same, so it pitches with all of your instruments. All right, so by default, we have just a standard, we get a 4-bar at 120 beats per minute, and time correction is turned on to 1/16. We're going to use time correction, that's totally fine. And so it's 4 bars. It's going to be fairly short, and you can make that bigger or shorter depending on how you want to do that. But let's record in the melody with our guitar. And the time correction will take over and fix my bad timing. Cool, huh? All right. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to use this to make video game soundtracks to the point where I'm actually selling my Wave State to Mark II because this thing does everything that does for what I need. Basically, I was using that as a glorified Rompler. All right, cool. We have that set down. So we can do some fun stuff with that, like go into the mix menu here. I can choose the guitar here. We can add an insert effect. Let's add a diffusion delay, which is my favorite. So air diffusion delay. Edit that. Go here. Change the mix down a little. Change the width up. Change the pan. I like to set it to 0 if I have width all the way up. And let's turn up the diffusion. And we're time synced. So that's absolutely awesome. Let's turn down the diffusion a little. Maybe a little less diffusion. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, cool. And then you can obviously play along if you wanted to, like a lower octave. Or you can overdub more notes into it, which we could do. Time correction will take over. All right, and then that awesome piano I was talking about, we can go to the piano. It's one of my favorite piano plugins I've heard on, well, it's definitely my favorite hardware piano I've heard so far. I mean, it's technically software running on hardware, but yeah, we'll just call it that. So yeah, the stage piano is absolutely awesome on this thing. So let's go to stage piano. Takes a second to load in. We can go into the edit mode. It has a lot of editing. Has a lot of, well, it has 4 major modes. It has the Yamaha C7, Steinway D. My favorite is the Bechstein upright. And then we have the workstation. So that's probably like, I feel like, it's like a modern workstation, like a Kronos or something like that, more so than it is like an M1. But yeah, you have the Bechstein upright is my favorite. Bechstein. Anyway, we'll have some release here. Turn up the octave. Turn up the level here. I love the cue controls. You just click in a grouping and then you get the cue controls on the side here. And if you touch the cue control, you see what it, what's like already mapped. I really like this key bed. It's very playable. It's not exactly like a Fatar key bed, but it's not bad either. It's not much under that. It's definitely synth action, but it's not like too light. It doesn't feel like a toy. Yeah, so really nice piano. I love it. You can do like lots of things, like you can have the hammer fall sound. Let's turn that up so you can really hear it. Really cool. It's very convincing, obviously, because it's samples, but it's very good samples. So yeah, like I said, we have our melody in there, and then we can add another track now with a different sound in it. Timing correction for the win. We can erase that if that didn't sound very good, just for that one track, obviously. better. And then the nice thing is, I can go ahead, let's turn off overdub. I can go in here to the plugin and add that Austin diffusion delay again. And it'll be tempo synced. So yeah, that's what I primarily plan on using it for, is to make video game soundtracks. And it especially if you put some sound fonts onto it using that Convert with Moss tool, it just really sounds absolutely fantastic for what I'm trying to do. It's all in one package. It is phenomenally versatile. You don't have to, once you get it up and running, you don't have to worry about it too much. I will say the software is a little on the jank side, but Kai's really, they've always been kind of known for that on modern MPCs. I had problems activating my plugins, which made me had to sign out and in multiple times to get them to activate. That's all over the web too, so they need to get their shit together and make the activation process a little simpler. I know you're trying to protect people unauthorized, like installing plugins, but come on, you're just hurting paying customers, because I'm sure there's hacks out there to activate, unlock everything on there. I'm not sure, but somebody's probably worked through it, because, you know, don't mess with paying customers, I'm trying to get at, but companies don't understand that, and that's why their stuff gets obviously taken. So yeah, well, that's not the only reason, but you're hurting paying customers doing, like, going through activation lock, just hoops like that. So yeah, that's my only real gripe about it, is the software. It has a little bit of jank factor. I have tried the beta on the MPC 1 Plus, and while I like the beta, I'm still kind of more used to the old school workflow, so I'll switch to 3.0 when it's fully stable and not in a beta. But yeah, this is a good thing to add to my arsenal, especially for specifically making you know, RPG style fantasy music and things like that. And it's just so easy to do it. It's like it's a modern workstation for a very low price comparatively. Cause I mean, I think they still make the Korg Kronos and things like that, but those are like in the $4,000 range, or like the Roland Phantom. Those things are insanely expensive. This is like a quarter of that, and you get so much, of the same features. And that piano sounds good. I actually never really liked the piano all that much on the Roland side of their stuff comparatively to this. I mean, that's a really good sounding sampled piano. So that's just my personal opinion, but, you know. Yeah, so very cool device, very useful for making JRPGs, soundtracks, and RPG and fantasy soundtracks. Sorry for that sounding a little, or that song sounding a little jank, because I'm just kind of demoing it. I could have done better if I just sat there and worked with it off of camera. But yeah, I'll go over a lot of the plug-in instruments in other videos. I really like Jura. That one's really fun. So the Juno emulation that I got is a separate plugin. But that stage piano is just, damn, it's good. Hype, which comes with all of them, all of the MPCs, is an absolutely phenomenal instrument. And I was thinking about getting the the FM synth engine for this as a paid add-on, but I don't really need it, because Hype does the FM sounds that I need for video game music. It's not very in-depth of what you can edit, but you can make a sound really quickly and they sound nice. And a lot of the presets just sound really good out of the box. And Hype even has PCM samples already built into it that sound really good, and you can mix and match and do things like that. So yeah, really cool stuff. Again, it is my favorite device, at least right now, for specifically making video game soundtrack music, especially the nostalgic stuff, especially using one of the conversion tools like Moss Convert, or Convert with Moss, sorry, that takes old sound fonts and turns them into something that this can read easily. So yeah, that said, thanks for watching this video. If you like my content, subscribe if you haven't already, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. All right, bye.